You're watching BCTV. We're all about Branford. You're watching BCTV, Branford Government Television, a service of Branford Community Television. This program is brought to you in part through the support of the town of Branford.
Okay, we're going to get started for Town of Branford Board of Finance special meeting Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. First on the agenda is citizens communication. Does anyone who'd like to comment on tonight's agenda items? They're welcome to do so now. Sir, you come up and just give us your.
Thank you.
Let the public know who you are.
Thank you. I'm Dan Edelman. I'm the representative for the 4th District and the Majority Leader on the RTM. I'm raising an issue concerning the sequence of the events on the meeting agenda. I had sent you an email back on February 20th that I think probably, rather than articulate the substance, I'm just going to read a paragraph into the record, if that's okay. I mean, just a paragraph to the board,
Sure.
if that's okay. I am writing to raise a concern regarding the current structure of your meetings. As it stands, the public comment period occurs before the agenda items are presented and discussed. This sequencing makes it difficult for attendees to offer meaningful input, as they have not yet heard the substance of the matters under consideration. In effect, it limits the ability of participants to ask informed questions or provide thoughtful comment on the agenda items themselves. Would you consider adjusting the order of the meeting so that the public comment follows the discussion of the agenda? Doing so would allow for more informed participation or a more productive exchange of ideas. So I had sent that to Chairman Mooney on February 20th, and I hadn't heard a response, so I'm always inquisitive about the citizens' comments being before any of the agenda items are discussed, which limits any public participation from the agenda items themselves.
Thank you for your comment. Be honest with you, I didn't see that. It might have gone into my spam, but I will look. You could resend that to me, and I shall respond. But thank you for your comments.
I appreciate that, and I will resend it in the morning. Thank you, sir.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, item number 2, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Registrar of Voters for the following fiscal 26 transfer from other supplies, the Registrar of Voters, other supplies $4,021 into overtime $163, purchase services $1,604, advertising and printing and binding $154, and meals and supplies $624, technology $1,387, and travel $89. You guys want to talk on the meeting, or you want to go outside? Thank you. Welcome, folks.
Good evening. Darren Lawler. I'm the Republican Registrar of Voters. This is Mary Jane Kenley. She's the Democrat Deputy Registrar of Voters. Unfortunately, Mr. Rowan, my counterpart, had a pre-scheduled event that he had to attend tonight. Basically, we're just asking for some transfers, a couple line items. The overages basically were because of we had to move the 4th District polling location from the fire department headquarters to here at the community house downstairs, a meeting room. Also, with that, we had to send out mailings to all the registered voters in the 4th District to notify them of the move. And then as far as the technology acquisitions, we received new tabulators from the Secretary of State's office, and the fees, the licensing fees and the maintenance fees were the reason for the unexpected technology acquisition costs. And as far as the meal supplies, we had to bring in more poll workers than expected because there was quite a large turnout this year for a municipal election. We had roughly 45% turnout. Usually we get about 30% turnout for a municipal election. So we had to that's why the overtime's a little is up there too. We had to bring in more workers, which required us to bring in more meal supplies as well.
Okay.
That was basically, that's basically the gist of it.
All right. Questions from the board? No.
Other supplies is going to be okay for the year?
Yes.
Okay. Somebody want to move it?
Move it.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck. Item number 3, to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Assessor's Office for the following fiscal 26 transfer from regular wages and salaries, $18,840, into seasonal part-time help, $18,840. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Hello.
So you sent us a little note. Thank you.
Do you want me to?
Sure. Just do a recap on it.
Okay. We have had a certified assessor working part-time doing high-level professional work, and this is just to keep him. We finally moved him over to saying that he was a part-time employee as opposed to just a seasonal employee. And so this money is just to basically keep the status quo in our office, which is working really well.
Okay. Questions?
No. I'll move it.
Moved by Yvette.
A second?
Seconded by Deborah. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Board of Ed to increase appropriation of the Branford High School tennis court seating project. Blaze, you're up. Be a increase in the general fund contributions to $60,000, increase on a transfer out of $60,000 and into the capital account, and again showing a revenue and expenditure in the actual capital account where it'll be expended. Proposed resolution resolved that the Board of Finance recommends to the RTM an increase in appropriation for fiscal 26 general fund budget from $141,198,673 to $141,258,673. This increase will be fully funded by a $60,000 contribution from the Branford Community Foundation Tally CPOT Memorial Project Fund and used to support the Branford High School tennis court seating project. Welcome, Blaze, and welcome, Mr. Paluzzi.
Hello, everybody. So thank you for this. I'm Blaze Levtan, CEO from the schools, and Alex is here too. Alex has been one of the main people leading the fundraising effort with the Branford Community Foundation and the Tally CPOT Memorial Fund, and has been really helping the Board of Ed liaison between the Branford Foundation, all the partners, and Nick as well. So, we have they successfully had fundraised a total of, you want to talk about it?
We fundraised a total of, we had 81 donors for a total of just under $75,000. And obviously we're going to keep it. We want to keep the dollars in the community foundation. We're required to keep $10,000 in that fund. We also so we have around close to $15,000 in that fund. So moving forward, if we have to take care of any extra plantings as time goes on with it, so this we're utilizing $60,000 so that we can do the whole project at this point. It's stadium seating, and Tally CPOT was a student at Branford High School, Penn State. After that, come back from a mission trip, lost her life about 10 years. It was 10 years ago. past September, and they had an original memorial there with some daffodils, and it's kind of in decay. Nowhere really for anybody to sit up at the high school, for spectators. So it's really it's a beautiful project, and we're going forward also too. We also have some community members also that might be helping us also with some materials going forward also. So we were hoping at the time to raise around $50,000. We ended up raising $75,000. From 81. It was a great effort within a couple weeks. Yeah. So we're really happy. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the goal here is we're going to increase the revenue for $60,000
Right.
for the first disbursement, and then increase the capital account correspondingly.
So the total project's going to be $140,000. Roughly.
More than that. Yeah, that'll be the taxpayer-based funded portion of the project. So that's what's already there, plus the 60.
Right.
So the town was basically covering, when we first did this appropriation, like the infrastructure improvements that have to be done anyways to the site, and then any of the beautification as well as the seating and all of these other nice items in the memorial were going to be covered by the fundraising. And then in perpetuity, there's a maintenance fund as well that this covers. So the Branford Community Foundation, some of you are very familiar with it, they have a disbursement every year. That disbursement too will go towards the maintenance. And there will be another disbursement most likely when we get to the next phase. This portion is for the core portion of the project, but there's no additional taxpayer funded dollars. The rest of it is all covered through disbursements from the Community Foundation. Long term, we'll probably look at setting up some type of form for the maintenance portion of it, but for the capital, that's what the goal is here.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Somebody want to move it?
I'll move it.
Second. Moved by Deborah, seconded by Fran. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's that one.
Thanks, Alex.
Next up, I think you're up again, Blaze.
Thanks, man. I'll see you later.
Item number
Maybe I'll see you
5
Tuesday.
is to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Board of Ed for an interim appropriation of $498,000 to fund contracts prior to July 1, 2026 to complete a comprehensive required Wi-Fi and network switching upgrade. And the increase would be appropriation from fund balance of $200,000 transferring over to the Board of Ed Facilities Fund of $200,000 from the fund balance transfer and a receivable for state grants of $298,000 for a total of expenditure authorization of $498,000. Proposed resolution would read, resolved that the Board of Finance recommends to the RTM an increase in the appropriation for the fiscal year 2026 general fund budget from $141,258,673 to $141,458,673. This $200,000 will provide the local share of a total of $498,000 appropriation for the Board of Ed Wi-Fi and network switch project. And thank you, Blaze. We did receive a fair amount of information regarding the bid process and the, requirement. This is coming off lease in June or July, and you need to put this in at least one school or the entire platform before you lose your Wi-Fi.
Yep. Yeah, so give some additional background. And first, Tom, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Tom Pisani, Director of Technology Operations.
Hey, Tom.
Thanks for having us.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll give some background, and then Tom can fill in the rest, but just, so this is a request that's in the fiscal 27 capital budget, and, had coordinated this approach for a while with Jim and Catherine to include it in capital, and then when we got closer to the budget process, to look at the timing once the E-rate was actually completed, to come to the Board of Finance and look at removing it based on the timing from the capital. It was been mapped in the capital so it was in there last year as well for this coming year. And so we're taking advantage of switching the model so that we can take advantage of the E-rate program. The E-rate program this is an eligible project. It's run by the FCC, and it's also known as Universal Service Funds, and it allows schools and libraries to receive a portion of the project funds back. And we get this now, for certain projects, but for a large-scale infrastructure project like this, you're eligible 60% over the course of a 5-year period, up to $500,000. And so this Wi-Fi replacement infrastructure project, E-rate is specifically for increasing access to broadband, is one of the main purposes of the program. And so we would be, instead of continuing a leasing, or subscription-based service, we'd be building out all of the Wi-Fi throughout the district, and being able to take advantage of doing it through an E-rate based program. It's paid in the reimbursement, model. So that's why you see the appropriation for the $200,000. That's the 40% balance. There's a little bit. We did a little rounding on a couple $1,000 there on the $2,000. And, Tom, I don't know if you want to speak about the actual project and kind of the benefit of this model.
Sure. The project takes on 400-plus access points throughout all of our campuses. The new Wi-Fi is, like Blaze had said, is currently a subscription model. This would be a non-subscription model, so these will kind of limit the peaks and valleys every 5 years of having high costs associated with Wi-Fi and switching. So we intend with the new model having a lifespan between 5 to 7 years instead of every just 4 to 5 years. This will also increase our capacity for students and staff as we have newer devices in the schools based on our previous leasing and our new leasing for student devices and staff devices. It will be faster, more reliable, more equitable across the district.
And then in the future, I think, Joe, what I put in there about the individual school levels is, so we're at a point where we have this single point of time frame where you have to do the whole district at once. Since we'll own the equipment in-house and can maintain it, we can change this to a more stable, predictable kind of replacement model. So Tom's kind of got a future vision of being able to do individual schools instead on a multi-year replacement plan, instead of this pinch point of having to do the whole district all at once. And you can still E-rate over the course of the 5 years. So this individual project, school by school, for example, it also will allow us to do more targeted, upgrades, where we can do some of them ourselves and maintain it instead of having to do this large scale purchase. So it kind of would switch us to a little bit more of a stable, predictable replacement cycle rather than a replacement cycle that requires surging on a 5-year model.
So initially, you have to do the entire system.
Yeah.
Entire infrastructure, but after that, you could piecemeal it as need be.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah, so it would be, for example, it would be if when we do the whole district, let's say we get to year 7 and we need switching at the high school or we need to replace some access points, it's a system that will be around for a very long time with 0 subscription fees, and we can replace access points without having to be out of compliance or out of firmware updates or
renegotiate a lease or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, got it.
And then we're not tied under the thumbprint of somebody else.
Good.
It's on our own terms.
And you bid this out. I see that you had a quite extensive bidding process in order to evaluate the 4 multiple bidders that you had.
That's correct.
Through,
yes,
so.
We did a highly competitive E-rate bid. It's called the 470 form. We had multiple bidders. They came on site, did a site walkthrough. They met with my team and myself, and based on the pricing being the heaviest weight and the equipment and things that we required, that bidding process was evaluated with a rubric, and we put the best bidders forward for our needs.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Questions, Fran?
Yeah. In terms of what we have right now before the upgrade, when you add the subscription cost and move it 5 years, if you kept the model you're using, what would that have cost been to the,
So the renewal cost for 1 year for the system we currently have is $180,000.
wow, so you answered, okay, that answers my question.
Yeah, so if we were to keep where we are today, the system would cost us $180,000 for 1 year, and then we'd be in the second boat again. The caveat to that is that E-rate does not cover that renewal. It only covers the hardware, and if it requires the software to run, it will cover that. Since we're not required by subscription to run this new hardware, E-rate will cover the whole hardware costs and installation.
Thank you.
Good job. Yeah. Other questions, Deborah?
Please, the grants that you mentioned here, do we already have those, or are those still pending?
So those, the way that the reimbursement works for E-rate is that Tom actually bid this out through E-rate. And so it's an E-rate approved project. You bid through the federal government's portal. And then if we award it through E-rate, then the only thing next to do is you have the grant, but it's on a reimbursement. So he submits the invoices, they track it, and then it comes the July 1st of the year after it occurs. Yeah.
It's billed in arrears.
Yep.
So we complete the project, July happens, you'll get the check back the following July, basically.
Yep. The Board of Ed has a smaller scale E-rate fund now for our internet service procurement. And so in the grant fund at the Board of Ed, there's a smaller scale that we E-rate like $50,000, and then you can get reimbursed back on that. And that is in the grant fund right now. This one would be separate, and that the revenue for this project would go back to the town's grant fund. So.
In the municipal facilities, Board of Ed facilities.
Board of Ed facilities fund, yeah. Yep.
Other questions? I know that you folks worked with Catherine to make sure that the accounting side of it and the cash flow side of it was taken care of. I think that's why you targeted that fund in order to help finance it.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions? Somebody want to move it?
I'll move it.
Second. It's moved and seconded by Fran. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, and a big thanks to Catherine, too, who we closely coordinate on everything, so as always, thanks for all the help. Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Blaise.
Good luck, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number 6 is to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the town engineer to increase the appropriation for East Industrial Road from $1,750,000 to $3,800,000. And why don't we let John explain the process, and then we'll get into the other particulars. Welcome, John.
Sure, thanks. Good to see you guys. Just a brief background on this project. Kind of started as an idea around 2016. I mean, the road's been pretty poor shape since before then. I'm sure you guys can remember. Worse shape now, of course. About 2019 is when we came before Board of Finance RTM for an appropriation. That was $1.75 million for that appropriation. That was for a straight reconstruction of East Industrial Road. And by reconstruction, we mean going down to dirt, building it back up with stone, asphalt, curbing, striping. About 2020 is when the federal government brought back earmarks. And so we solicited an earmark from Congresswoman Delores' office, and were successful in getting that earmark for $2.25 million, with a local match of $562,500 was the required match. That was still in the preliminary phase as far as the plans go. Once we introduce the federal dollars, we have to start looking at what their requirements are, so things get a little bit more complicated. The design gets a little bit more robust. We added some additional features such as sidewalks. If you're familiar, the TA truck stop is an extremely busy truck stop on that road. I know I've witnessed countless times truckers kind of frogging across East Industrial to get to Stop and Shop. There's a liquor store, Dunkin' Donuts. So we are introducing a sidewalk along the south side to allow those truckers to walk along the sidewalk, and then the rectangular rapid flashing beacon lights is an enhanced mid-block crossing directly to the Stop and Shop Plaza. So hopefully that will aid them in kind of a safety manner to get them across the street. So we did, on top of the 1.75, we did expand the scope a little bit within the project. We expanded the length of the project. Originally, it was just really to exit 56, the off-ramps there, on-ramps there. We extended that beyond to sort of like the third driveway of the Rings End Lumber. That's where we saw, it looked like a phase 1, phase 2 of the industrial park build out. So that's where we're seeing the pavement kind of change there to where we think we could do a normal maybe mill and pave up the road to Sycamore, Pin Oak, kind of make that connection. This section was originally built in the 1980s as part of the original industrial park. When DOT put the new ramps in, they didn't account for, or they knew about it, but they didn't account for the increased traffic and particularly truck traffic that was going to beat up that road. So all the focus and attention was on the ramps reconstruction themselves, and there's some alignment work with school ground and things like that. They just came back and just mill and paved what was existing there. And actually, just came up in discussion with our inspector on the Main Street project. He used to work for DOT, was on that job, and said, yeah, they never should have mill and paved that at that point. It was already beyond a mill and pave kind of maintenance thing. So, so here we are. We're kind of stuck with our only option of reconstructing the roadway. We are adding those benefits of the sidewalk and the mid-block crossing. With the increase, which the request of the increase is an additional $2,050,000, that would bring us to about 3.8 on the project. With we anticipate around 1.3, I believe, is what would be the local share. That includes a 10% contingency for the project, includes inspection services that are required by the federal funding, as well as the design to date for the project. So happy to answer any questions that there might be.
Once this is this funding is approved, what's your timetable for bidding? Or I think you already have a...
We did go out to bid. We received 11 bids, which is great. Some good competition. The lowest qualified came in about 2.8, which would be, I mentioned the base bid plus an ad alternate. We weren't sure where these prices were going to land, so we wanted to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room. The base bid is really just to the ramps. The ad alternate one was a mill and pave from the ramps up to the end of the project, which is kind of throwing good money after bad. It's not going to last. And so our recommendation was for the ad alt 2, which would be a full reconstruction through the project. Yep.
When do you think it'll start?
I think because of the funding source, the federal funding involved. I mean, we've vet the bids. We still need to get the intent to award out to the contractor. I received the last information I needed to submit for that. So we would think like a couple months would be. It's a pretty straightforward product. There's no special materials coming into this. It's just a real reconstruction, down and dirty kind of job.
What's the duration?
It'll be a full season. Reason being that we have to keep traffic open for the duration of the project. So it's a little dance to try to get the detours to work. We're working with DOT, and we have to satisfy them with the ramps. So it'll be tricky, but it'd be nice if we can close it all down and send traffic one way, but all those businesses, we'd be in trouble.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay, questions from John on this, or? Catherine?
Do you have the first-person version of the resolution? Thank you. To read?
I do. If somebody wants to move that I waive the reading of this resolution and go to the...
You just have to read the smaller, the condensed version.
The first-person version?
Yes, so you would be reading that and then waiving the full motion, or the full reading.
Okay,
The waiving is in there.
right. Okay, got it.
Yes.
So the proposed resolution, according to Catherine, is to, let's see, resolve that a resolution amending resolution appropriating $1,750,000 for the reconstruction of East Industrial Road and authorizing the issuance of $1,750,000 in bonds of the town to meet said appropriation and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowing for such purposes to increase the appropriation and bond authorization therein by an additional $2,050,000 and to be adopted and recommended for adoption by the Arch Representative Town Meeting. Is there a motion to waive the reading of the entitled resolution and incorporate its full text into the minutes of the meeting?
So moved.
Moved by Yvette,
I'll second.
seconded by Deborah. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then I need a motion for the resolution to be adopted.
I'll move it.
Moved by Yvette.
Second.
Second by Ari. Their discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have roll call.
Roll call. This is new, roll call.
It is. She did add that, so.
Why did she add that?
Did they already adopt the?
That cost us extra money?
Wait, pardon? I believe it's just new language. She thought it would be better to have a roll call vote. Because
Okay.
just like the RTM does on there.
Roll call vote.
Yvette LaRue,
Wait,
aye.
hold on one second.
What's that, Josh?
Oh, never mind. No, go ahead, Joe.
You good?
I apologize.
That's all right.
I didn't see all the sentence.
Okay, so roll call. Yvette?
Yvette LaRue, aye.
Harry?
Harry, yes.
Deborah?
Deborah, yes.
Fran?
Fran, yes.
Joe, yes. Is that a roll call for you? That's good?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John. So adopted, I declare the resolution adopted. This new language tricked me tonight.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right, so we're good. Good luck, John. Item number 7 is to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the Finance Director for the following fiscal 26 transfer to partially fund a new position in the Finance Department with particular emphasis on strengthening the audit readiness, internal controls, and financial oversight. Request is from contingency $21,250 into regular wages $20,923 and accrued payroll $327. Catherine, what's the balance in contingency?
If the transfers are approved tonight, it will be $325,616.
Okay, thank you. And Catherine has forwarded us a memo regarding this request, and would you like to go over that, Catherine?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Sorry. During last year's budget presentation, Jim had mentioned to the board, and Fran, I know you're new to the board, but he had mentioned that we were going to be adding a position or looking to add a position to our office. You know, over the last several years, we've had some significant delays in preparing the audit and getting it out to the state agencies. So we are looking to bring this position in to help. It has a lot of responsibilities, but its primary responsibility will be to help with the timely reconciliations between the Board of Ed and the Finance Office, as well as the Tax Office and the Finance Office. We worked with HR and developing the job description as well as the salary for the job description. We are looking to hire this position hopefully April 1st. So it was a little delayed. We were hoping to do it earlier. However, you know, with a lot of the transitions in our office over the last year, we just got a little delayed. So, but I think this is a perfect time to have the position start. And I also think that, with audit regulations becoming stricter and they're looking for segregation of duties, they're looking for improved internal controls, this position will help us achieve that in our office. I know Blaze is here if he'd like to mention something in support of the position as well. We have been working very closely with the Board of Ed when we were developing the job description as well.
Yeah, I know that Catherine is, as you know, has worked a couple of years, not only reconciling the tax office, trying to work with that, and working with Jim and that previously, and also working with Blaze and his staff to again reconcile and improve some of the accounting procedures and such at the Board of Ed. So, Blaze, you're supportive of this as well?
Yeah, deeply supportive. I think it leads to the type of oversight and reporting that this board and the community would expect to see from an entity that operates with a lot of creative fiscal instruments like we operate with here, with a AAA-rated, town. And we've really been embarking on, between the Board of Ed and the town, on some, really significant projects. And there's a lot of new money flowing in. There's been a big increase in some federal project funding that we've received. We have some big school construction grant projects. The town has had a huge increase in some of these areas of funding over a few decades with the same amount of people. And the audit requirements, especially in the last 5 years, all of our colleagues are dealing with this. They've grown extremely borderline onerous to some of these with some of the work you have to do, but it's the nature of the beast if you're going to have a single audit. And I think that this not only builds more cohesion, something we've really been prioritizing is building cohesion between the town and the Board of Ed, and opening up transparency. And I think that this really does that in a way that's meaningful and deeply needed. And Catherine really laid it out really well, and she's put a lot of thought, I know, for a long time into this position. And over the last 2 years, we can kind of been burning Catherine out, making her do the Board of Ed too, over here too. So we deeply appreciate everything she's doing, and I think it sets it up in a more sustainable path to go forward.
Thank you, Blaze. Questions from Catherine or Fran?
Maybe I'm not reading this right, but it's only $21,000. You got to find a candidate.
I prorated the salary because instead of seeking it for the full year, like what has been planned,
I got you.
We decided to prorate it just for the 3 months we were looking for.
So, Fran, that'll show up in the budget. And also, Catherine and Josh worked with HR and, again, talking to what some of the Board of Ed needs were. And they also had to work with the union in order to iron things out. And when I did talk to Catherine and Josh about it, and Jim as well, that we want to make sure that we have the right dollar amount to attract the qualified person. So I think Josh or Catherine, you'd like to address that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to, if you were to make the salary too small, you'd get me doing the job, and that probably wouldn't be helpful to Catherine. So, this way we can find the right candidate, and just know that by approving this tonight, which I really hope you do, it's going to come, you're going to see it in the budget, and I'm going to blame her for the increase, but so it'll be a much larger increase come budget time. But I think it's valuable. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I would add to the transparency part of this. I go way back, not far back as some of you all, but this would never have happened 10, 15 years ago. This kind of collaboration. So I think just that alone deserves to be celebrated, regardless of how you move forward on the motion.
Thank you, Josh. Questions from the board on any additional questions? Somebody want to move it?
I'll move it.
Moved by Yvette. Second by Fran. Do you need a roll call vote on this one? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, item number 8. Thanks, Blaze. Item number 8 is to...
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Item number 8 is to consider and if appropriate, approve a request from the First Selectman for the following fiscal '26 transfer from contingency $14,985 to regular salaries and wages $14,927 and accrued payroll $58. Josh?
So what I'm asking for here is to increase the executive assistant's salary. And for a lot of reasons, but mainly because it's grossly underfunded in comparison with around the state. We did a salary study for all the municipalities around the state and found that the average is right around between $84,000 and $88,000 a year, and our position is $69,000 a year. So, you know, it's my intention to do things as the executive a little bit differently that will also put more responsibility on the executive assistant's plate. You know, one of those will be communication with the town on a regular basis and with the townsfolk on a regular basis. You know, perhaps adding a service which will the fire chief is looking at now, and what the best service that would be. But all of these things would be added to that person's plate. You know, even if we take the person, the individual that we're speaking about out, and just the salary alone, it is not even remotely competitive to what exists around the state. And that's not opinion, that's a fact. So I'm asking for this. I'm not, however, this is for as if the increase was a
Back to July 1st.
Back to July 1st.
Retroactive.
But I will not, I'm not going to pay retroactive salaries back to July 1st. It's not, I don't believe that is my right to do because I was not the executive at the time, so I don't have that right. I think most likely I would ask that I would get the blessing from this body and other bodies that I make this retroactive to January 1st, so it wouldn't use that whole dollar amount, but it's cleaner to do it this way rather than to try and prorate it, you know, percentage-wise. So that's why we chose to do this way. And then but you know, I'll take advice from the boards, how they think, what they think is most appropriate as far as back pay, whether it's January 1st, March 1st, however, but that is my intention, and that is why that number is there. But as I've said on other motions, I will not spend a dime more than is necessary.
Okay, thank you. Questions regarding this request?
I'll move the request.
Move the request. Okay, and
I'll second it.
it's been seconded. Discussion.
Who seconded it, by the way?
Yvette. So you work with. Yeah, right. You got to take. You got to take the minutes.
Do I get it? I'd like a raise.
And so you'll work with HR to resolve once the RTM approves the number.
Yeah, absolutely.
With HR
absolutely.
To go back to that. Okay. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Well deserved, I believe, Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item number 9 is to consider a request from the Finance Director to recommend that the Board of Finance appoint the accounting firm of Clifton Larson Allen LLP to perform the fiscal 25-26 annual audit at the cost of $95,000. Catherine, what's the status of the audit for 25?
It's delayed. So we were hoping to have the audit, believe it or not, released before Jim left. That was my goal, but, you know, situations being what they are, it's been delayed a little. I know that we're still working on reconciling with the board. The Board of Education lost a key position with their business manager resigning as of January 30th to 31st. And I've been trying to work with Jim, but it is budget season. We have a new administration, so training and moving things over to the new assistant finance director is just taking a little longer. So I'm hoping to get, once the budget is completed, get back on track with that and hopefully have it issued, by the end of April.
Okay. And as far as your request to appoint for,
And I do apologize. I did say in the letter that I was going to attach the bid waiver that I had presented to the Board of Selectmen. I did need to go for a bid waiver because it was over the $75,000 threshold in our bidding ordinance.
Right.
So I apologize. That did not get it part of your packet.
Yeah, I've got the letter. I think that was actually mailed out. Tristan did mail that out on Thursday or Friday. So it did point out the fact that the Board of Selectmen did waive the bidding requirements.
Yes, they
did. So they've given it the blessing again, and I think you pointed out the reasons that that you justified to the Board of Selectmen, which was the continuity and institutional knowledge, cost efficiency and staff resources, specialized expertise, and reasonable fees, which this includes the town and the Board of Ed?
It does. What it does not include is if for some reason it would get delayed again, sometimes there is additional fees if they're brought in for, special projects, which would be an additional, not only fee, but would be additional proposal that I would probably bring to this board if that was necessary.
Now, I know the last couple of years, there's been a lot of transition. Now, this is a new partner, because Vanessa, her name was Vanessa?
Vanessa retired.
She retired, and then this gentleman is now...
David Flint.
He's the partner on the account.
The director on the job has not changed. We've had the same director now for, I'm going to say 10 years or more.
Yeah.
I do know that we will have a new... They put a manager on the job, and he is at CLA, but he moved to Colorado. So we will have a new team for the 26 audit.
Okay.
In fact, I think even finishing out the audit, some of that will be a new team as well.
Right. So the goal would be to bring in the 25-26 audit timely.
Yes.
Okay.
And I believe that the position that you just approved funding for, and as long as the RTM approves it, I think, having the people in place and the positions in place will definitely help with getting it back on track.
Okay. Questions, Fran?
Yeah, just really quick. So this firm has been doing the audit for quite a few years.
Yes. CLA has been our audit firm, I believe, 3 years. They merged with Bloom Shapiro, and it was always Bloom Shapiro. Since I've started, it was Scully and Wolf, Bloom Shapiro, and now CLA. So, the the auditing firm has changed, the partner has changed, but generally we've had the same director that has been overseeing our account.
Project. Second question: does the town allow? Do you do offer firms to bid for 3 or 5 year contracts, or does this has to be done annually based on the town, the way the town operates? I ask because we used to do that all the time. We should get deep discounts if you signed a 3-year contract that you would use that firm.
Yeah, we had talked about going out to bid, but a lot of our counterparts are really struggling getting, the ones that are going out to bid, they're not getting a lot of firms that have applied. I believe North Branford got 1 bid, maybe 2. So I just think that the pool of firms that do municipal audits is shrinking because of it. So I might not be adverse to going out to bid in the future. It's just that, right now, I just don't think it's a good.
Oh, I'm not sure about the bid. No, it's
Yeah.
more about, could the town, like with this firm, say, what would you offer if we gave you a 3-year contract? Would they discount the annual fees?
I believe I could ask that. I do not know. I do know that it would have to come back to this board because it would be multi-year contract, but I could reach out to them and see. I don't believe we've ever done that in the past, and it might be a good question to ask them.
That was my only question. If it's, I don't want to stop the flow of what's happening now, but I was just asking, generally speaking, if the town would do that, seek a 3-year contract with a particular firm, what would they offer for this?
I can ask them.
That's a good point, Fran, thank you. In the meantime, if we appoint them for this engagement, then you can always come back and renegotiate going forward, yeah. Other comments or questions? Okay, somebody want to move it?
So moved?
Second?
Moved and seconded by Fran, moved by Yvette, seconded by Fran. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, and...
Before you adjourn, I would just like to congratulate Catherine on her first solo Board of Finance meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you, Catherine. And thank you, Trista, too, for slugging through the minutes.
Yes.
And while we're at it, might as well thank Henry and Doug, too, because they were troopers getting us lined up here. All right. With no other business to come before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
This program was brought to you in part through the support of the Town of Branford. Watch town meetings and other videos on demand at BranfordTV.org.